Africans, Nigerians, we deny who we are. And this is one of the reasons why we suffer. We deny our potential. And I'm not talking about the good side of what we can become. I'm talking also about the bad side or the selfish side of individuals in general. I'm talking about the possibility of we becoming as corrupt as the politicians or even doing worse. We are selfish to a point that we are not just dangerous to the society or the people around us, we are even a danger to ourselves. I explained this in the last video. According to mental experts, selfishness of the individual stems from the genetic predispositions and behavior learned from childhood development, from family members and the society at large. This is where you have the argument of society influences the individual or the individual that makes society. And what I mean by the individual is selfish, not just the political leader, but all of us are equally corrupt and selfish. Because we are selfish, we care only about ourselves and our interest. We don't care about the happiness of other people. We always put our needs first. We feel entitled, we are manipulative, we are self-centered, we are controlling. Selfish people like us are inconsiderate. Because we are selfish, we take more than we give. And research has proven this. God agrees to this, that the heart of man is selfish, corrupt, and desperately evil. Our nature confirms this. So I ask you, what is the point of begging or pleading or complaining to the individual who is very selfish, who lacks empathy, to now have mercy on us and treat us good? What is the point? I think it's a waste of time. Or do you think that they don't know what is happening or the situation or the condition of the people? These politicians, they do know. But the thing is, they don't just care. But do you not know that we are genetically designed to always choose the easy way out of any situation? If a task is supposed to be difficult and another one is supposed to be easy, it is in our nature to always choose that which is easy. This is the reason for the advancement of technology. This is the reason why we live under systems. Just like in the electoral system, if it wasn't for systems, it would be so difficult to get leaders or who will be in charge of the Commonwealth. Everyone will want to become a leader. It will result to chaos and probably war. So we choose the easy way. We develop a system to help us elect who will be in charge of government. This is why we want what is good over what is bad. We are so bent on making our lives easy. This is why Aristotle said we are political animals relentlessly pursuing our interest. If you now understand this, you will now know that disobedience to the law is always the easy way out of any situation. It always feels good at the moment, temporarily, but in the future, disobedience to law causes more harm than the temporary good that it does. This is why to a society or a collective of individuals, resulting to pursuing temporal pleasures has futuristic negative effect on the growth or advancement of the society. Now, to reverse a situation where individuals always prefer to disobey the law, become corrupt, since there is high gain and low risks, to embezzle public funds and go away, which is easier instead of working for 30 years and just retiring with your normal stipends. Like in the case of Nigeria, you could work for 30 years and retire, but still not be able to afford medical care or money for the education of your kids, which will now put you in a more difficult situation. But if you stole money while you were in service, it will be a piece of cake for you when you retire, because by then your kids will be abroad, which is the easiest situation amongst the two. So if you understand the nature of the individual, you would know better on how to interact with the individual. If we understand ourselves, we will know better on how to interact with ourselves and what to expect from our selfish self and how to get us to behave in accordance to the law, which will benefit us collectively, benefit the collective interest. So if you want the individual to let go what is easy for him and abide by what is difficult to him, which is obeying the law and letting go temporal pleasures of embezzling public funds, you are now going to have to make the temporal pleasures more difficult. So if you want to reverse the situation, there is no use begging the individual or begging our political leaders. Because me, I'm not worried just about the political leaders. I'm worried about the machinery, the system entirely, because we are all corrupt. So for you to get the individuals to behave in accordance to the law for common good, you have to switch the coin. You have to flip the coin. Now, rearrange the system in a way that doing what is bad or being corrupt or being disobedient to the law becomes more difficult than obeying the law. So much so that when you commit a crime, it becomes impossible for you to escape punishment. That is reducing the level of impunity down to zero, if possible. Now, it will become easier to obey the law and more difficult to disobey the law. These are the corridors we are supposed to be having this discussion. This is the approach. There is no use begging an individual because the individual is corrupt. This is the discussion that we are supposed to be having. It's not the type that we are complaining about the character of the individual. We're talking about Tinubu flying in and out of the country. What does that mean? Does the constitution restrict him from flying out and flying back into the country? No. It means he does what he wants. Okay, that could be for his selfish interest or for the benefit of the people. But the fact that you are complaining, it means he's doing all of that for his selfish interest. He's just being a typical individual. Why are you complaining? There is a mechanism that gets individuals to behave in a particular manner, and especially the political leaders who are powerful, who are seen as the law themselves. In the ancient city-states of Athens, they developed a democracy, and in it, they involved this principle of separation of powers in order to have an effective system of check and balance, such that even the political leader himself became afraid of committing crime, such that within the political leaders themselves, it became more difficult for them to commit crime than to obey the law. So, as typical individuals, they chose the easy way, or they always choose the easy way to obey the law. And if the system of check and balance is not effective, it means the process of separation of power is faulty. Don't leave this discussion or these areas of inquiry and begin to result into trying to correct the selfish nature of the individual. It is a waste of time. Between the 15th to 18th century, the Oyo Empire, they also developed a means, an effective system of check and balance, such that the Alafin, who is now like a president, did not abuse power, such that they didn't have to go and be begging and complaining, jumping up and down, making videos online, talking about the character of the Alafin. The Oyo Messi was there to check his powers, and the Oyo Messi could now present the Alafin with an empty calabash or a parrot egg. Anytime they found him incapable of ruling the people or corrupt, they presented him with this egg and he had to commit suicide. So imagine you as a president with a legislature that has the ability to wake up and present you a parrot egg if you were found wanting in your performance or corrupt. Would you not be more careful? Would you need anybody to come and beg you to do good to the people? Nigerians have become so concerned about character. I don't even see anybody pointing hands to the Senate as they point hands to Tinubu. These are all individuals living their lives. For instance, we know that the lion is a carnivorous animal, just like we know that the individual is selfish. Now, when you see the lion feeding or feasting on a gazelle or an antelope, you tend to be acting surprised. You tend to be complaining that the lion should have mercy or compassion or pity for the gazelle and not eat it, against the interest of the lion. Should not eat it and starve. Conversely, you now see a typical individual who is a politician, who we are supposed to acknowledge that he's selfish by nature, stealing, embezzling our funds, and we begin to complain and pray and hope that these people now develop compassion and goodwill and have mercy on us against their own primary interest. This is not how things worked. In the ancient city-state of Athens, the ancient Oyo Empire also understand this mechanism, and they chose another way rather than complaining and crying and praying that the political leader should no longer be selfish and become selfless.